By tapping into the faculty of your spirit and utilizing your natural power of consciousness, you may learn and master how to explore and then drive your spiritual faculty. Easier said than done. Why? Let us explore this topic together. If you think you can explore and then drive your spiritual faculty using all book religions like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, you might end up forfeiting your spiritual birthright because of forces that are arrayed against us. You have to read this book before the God fiction took over the earth, which you can get from Amazon, because it will give you decisive information that will lay the roadmap on how you can explore as well as enhance your soul, because your soul is enmeshed and trapped in various forces. Please take notice. Due to YouTube restrictions, this video and associated links as well as suggestions are just the tip of the competent standard on which you can explore, then drive your spiritual faculty successfully. We are facing countless negative forces. Because of that, we give you the hierarchy of melanin dominant spirituality here. Today we want to concentrate on one specific entity or group of entities, just one class of them. These are under the groups of divinities. You may have heard of the term archon, but if you are hard pressed to define, what would you say an archon is? But the essence of the archons, very negative. We will also explain from another perspective these archons. Secondly, and most indispensably, how are archons related to your spiritual faculty? They are related because of the three problems that hinder our will to explore, then drive our spiritual faculty. Archons are at the top, then followed by clockwork thinking and also modern technology. The archons appear in our ancestral texts that survived the burning of the library in Alexandria by zealous Christian mobs as mysterious beings. It is very clear that in almost all melanin dominant culture and traditions, these negative evil entities or beings are recognized, and there are systems that have been put in place to defeat them. However, and the most unfortunate aspect of all is that with time, this knowledge has waned, and these archons have taken advantage of that type of ignorance. We now go on to give proof of these archons. We go to the library that was found in Africa at a place called Nag Hammadi in 1947, where we learn of the Gnostics who got their knowledge from ancient Africa in Kemet. And they give us a clear view of these forces, the archons. In 1947, some ancient texts were found in clay jars in Nag Hammadi in Africa. And these were reservoirs of stories dating to almost 2,100 years ago, where people who lived during that time wrote about these forces that were permeating and invading the earth. The reason the Nag Hammadi texts, which date back to 2,100 years ago, or 100 BC, are so important is that no one has been able to put a spin on them, or alter, or destroy, or omit many of them, because they exist. They've done a lot of editing and rewriting of the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, but these books were discovered in 1947 and were translated by independent scholars. So because no one has been able to distort or destroy them, it means that what they tell is the reality of the perception of the people who wrote them at that time, untempered. To keep the information and knowledge from the masses and to hide the bridge that links to African mysteries, these books are not publicized or promoted. Only independent scholars are promoting it. More proof about archons comes from one of the greatest shamans, the late Credo Mutwa, Ubabu Credo Mutwa, who confirmed a lot of this information and added more. Because these survived and were successfully translated, the books from Nag Hammadi, we read them today. There is additional data about these evil divinities, a fact confirmed by our traditions also. These archons are Madzangaradzimu, Mazimu, or Chitauris. These and probably many others have tampered severely with our flesh, bones, and blood. We may say with our DNA. Why? In order to deceive humans. They have also slowly inspired technologies, political systems, wars, social engineering systems, asynchronized religions, false spiritualities, and genetically modified foods, which de-link you from being natural. All this will end up deceiving you and stealing your soul. Our book, The God Fiction, elaborates on this. To explore and then drive your spiritual faculty, you must know these two fundamental factors: the tempering of your flesh, of your bones, as well as technologies and many other things that we are going to explain. When your natural life spirit increases its illuminating power, it induces clear thoughts. And these clear thoughts, which the Greeks borrowed from thought or Jgahuti, strengthens the body and gives your soul the ability to explore this dimension. In that state, no one can lead you astray or lessen your humanity. But those on whom the counterfeit spirit preys are alienated from humanity and deviated from the path of their soul. These despicable spirits gain strength by leading us astray. The archons burden the soul, attracting us to do works of evil, and they pull us down into oblivion, making us forget who we are. You can read from the Apocryphon of John 2, from the books of the Nag Hammadi. Yet the systems that are there continuously throw mental blocks against us. So how do we overcome this clogged thinking? We can also study from our ancient ancestors the War of Heru, and explained and taught by Dr. Moata Ashby, his book shown here, and also knowing that what one thinks of continuously becomes one's own reality. This was stated by Herukut. That is the first point. Knowledge and the knowing clears your clogged thinking. The number 2 point is your totems. This is why it is absolutely important and critical and urgent that we begin to tap into the faculty of our natural spirit using crude and no compromising imagination, even against the strong desires that originate from our animal bodies, the flesh that we have. These animal bodies and these animal desires are easily tamed by our totemic system. So when you know your totems, your mother's totem and your father's totem, you know how to temper this, because you then follow certain taboos that synchronize with your blood and your lineage and your DNA. Every melanin dominant human being carries 2 totems and more. So you have to know your totems. If you do not know your totems, food and other taboos become a conduit through which these alien forces and entities channel their influences into you easily, very easily. This type of ignorance will not only affect your bodies, but your soul as well. So your totems are not only terrestrial, they are also cosmic totems. Because clogged thinking is very dangerous. We know from here the basic structure of the dark forces, that they are operative bodies on earth. Secret societies, the deep state, the government, some military groups, the police, the judiciary, etc. are the lowest level that try to control and curtail your free thinking. And then on top of that, we've got the Illuminati, the Khazarian Mafia, the Reptilians, the Jesuits, the Archons. You see where they are now. And it goes up and up. How do we deal with these influences? Because if you don't deal with them, they will determine our spiritual development, which will impact how we may explore, then drive our spiritual faculty. It is time to unlock the doors to your soul in this earthly realm. It is time to know that your physical body, your ancestry, your blood or your DNA are master keys in this battle. Do not allow anything to alter their natural state. Driving your spiritual faculty, you need these first steps, as well as your totems and knowing your true history. Restoring clear thinking gives you power on how to explore and then drive your spiritual faculty. Now, all you need to know is to read a lot of books. This book, Ancient Egyptian Book of Coming Forth by Day, also known as Parutema Hore, gives us eternal lessons and instructions that will help us in this life today, as well as when we pass on and go and try to go into the afterlife. We learn from it also that the eternal soul comes to the earth to learn certain lessons and to become purified. These forces that we are fighting against are trying to squeeze the evil out of us. When we resist them, we are squeezing the evil out of us here. Modern technology has been used by Archons to clog our thinking and hinder our spirituality. Here are some more steps in exploring and driving your spiritual faculty. You must acknowledge natural forces as primary and dam off artificial forces that are arrayed against humanity like this that we are showing here. How do you do that? By switching off all the power when you go to bed, by avoiding power or Wi-Fi or any other radiation that is harmful. But how do you do that in reality? Because we need to use this. What you must remember is that you are a soul. And the soul that we speak of is a divine spark. It's electrical. It's charged. It's a charge. Therefore, you should switch off all Wi-Fi, all phones, all electricity in your bedroom before you go to bed. You also need crystals under your pillow or in your own presence, so that you can be able to stem off. These are the crystals that we are showing here. The double EMF crystals that stems off these forces that come through modern technology to influence or control as well as modify your blood as well as your DNA. The earth has its own natural electromagnetic electrical field, which is alive today, but which is heavily polluted by human invented electricity. You can read this book by Samuel Milham, Dirty Electricity. It explains everything. This is the earth, which is this Schumann forces or Tesla forces that were discovered by these scientists around it. These are natural forces. Our entire biological system, the brain, and the earth itself work on the same frequencies. These frequencies shown here. That's what Nikola Tesla said, one of the most brilliant scientists. The last hindrance is the flocculation index, the parameter to evaluate the rate of blood clotting. Very, very critical and important during these days of the trials and errors of mandatory this, mandatory that. We have to think of the power of the sun. In 1938, a Japanese physician, Mark Takata, found by chance that the blood flocculation indexes of large numbers of Japanese people rose at times when sunspots were directed or concentrated on particular species on the earth. Takata later demonstrated that this flocculation index regularly reaches an extremely low point in the early pre-waking hours of the morning. It then shows a sudden dramatic rise beginning about 20 minutes before sunrise, which continues at a somewhat reduced pace for about a half an hour following sunrise. Very, very, very important to notice here, because this is part of our tradition as Bantus or melanin dominant human beings. You can go to this website and read more about this. Takata's findings underline the importance of the great solar synchronizer in our lives. It is perhaps not surprising, therefore, that through the ages, human beings have considered the moments of sunrise and sunset as having powerful, even mysterious properties, and that they have often linked religious practices and meditations with these times of the day. The sun's influence on the body is slowly being hidden Yet our ancestors knew and practiced, and best practice to energize our spirituality before dawn. Bakalanga or bakaranga, very powerful word. So here is the proof that our ancestors knew all these things. You can see here, who am I? These are the words of Ra, the sun divinity. He says, I'm Kepera in the morning, where he's being born, rising up. Remember those energies now coming up. And Ra at noon, right, midday, life existing. You are using those energies that you absorbed in the morning. And Tema in the evening, death, the sun is setting. And Aman Ra, rebirth at midnight. So it starts again and on again. You can get this from the description that we will give, and you get and go to the website and buy the book for about this. Best practice to clear mental debris is at dawn. Best times for ritual libation is at dawn. This is very, very important. And also remember, the sun here is connected with the flocculation of your blood. Now let's go to what is happening today concerning AstraZeneca, a COVID vaccine that is known to cause blood clots. You go to this website here, an Australian website, where they say, is it true that the Vaxzevria AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine cause blood clots? So they go on to explain here and say, there has been a link established between the AstraZeneca vaccine and a very rare but serious side effect called thrombosis in combination with the thrombocytopenia. There is a very low chance of this side effect. That's what they say, which may occur in around 4 to 6 people in every million after being vaccinated. So you see, the information here is tallying up very, very perfectly. Now, at the same time, we know that innovative mRNA may be a tool to hinder your spirituality because of its impact and effect on your blood. We know that there is someone who is working very hard to block the sun. There is the man who is working very hard, who is expanding processes to throw a lot of tons of dust into the stratosphere to stop the sun, saying it is causing global warming. It is going controversial with our ancestral knowledge that we have explained here. Christianity, Judaism, and many other religions have changed the days of the system of counting of the days from sunrise to sunset to sunset, and also from midnight. Now they say the day starts at midnight when there is death. So what is the story here? Son of God to son of God. Once you understand how all these forces can be identified and appreciated, you must then engage in trance practice, which was used by our ancestors. Only then can you own your own spiritual signature and master how you can explore, then drive your spiritual faculty so as to outperform any challenges, including the Archons. You have to be proactive. This is the true Son of God, the light of the world that gives life to everything on the earth. And this is the religious lie that is portrayed as the Son of God. There is a lot to dig and to learn and to share. We are all together in this battle. However, if you want to explore and then drive your spiritual faculty, we have given you a good start. But if you desire to learn more, we suggest you incorporate the Trance practice system. If your answer is yes, send us your request to enroll into our basic course, Bantu Foundation, which will eventually lead you into Ubuntu Maati Mysteries Studies. Subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Iburu Ethics, this preacher Rabbi Elem Dumisilu saying, till we meet again, have a great day. Tatenda siyabonga enkosi edupe asante sana.